Hey, everybody. Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of CarnivorousGrama Speaks. My name is Robin Heron, and I am your carnivorous grandma. And tonight I am streaming to both TikTok and YouTube. So drop me a comment in the comments and let me know where you are watching from. So I want to say welcome to 2026. I'm super excited. And tonight I just kind of want to just chop it up a little bit, right? So we don't have too much of a script or anything like that. I just kind of want to talk about the past year and how I am walking into 2026, the things that matter to me, and hopefully that matter to you too. So let me know if you are carnivore down in the comments. And if you're not carnivore, are you thinking about trying carnivore for World Carnivore Month? And so that's January 2026. And yeah, January is World Carnivore Month. It's a great time to try it out if you have been, dabbling around with the idea or thinking about trying it out. It's a really, really good time to try it because so many millions of people are actually trying it with you. So let me know where you are watching from down in the comments. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So I wanted to kind of talk you through a little bit about how 2025 went before we get into intentions for 2026. So I met some of my goals and I did not meet others of my goals. So definitely 2025 has been an interesting year. Of course, I have stayed carnivore all year long. And when I say carnivore, I mean primarily meat-based. I do not have any vegetables or fruits and try to stay awake. Try to stay awake. Try to stay away from processed foods as much as possible. And so what do I eat? I'm eating mostly steak. Like I eat almost a steak almost every day, a lot of ground beef, a lot of beef, really, chicken, and, so meat. Basically, people want to co-host with me. I'm not inviting anybody to co-host tonight. So, hey, you guys, thank you for being here. TikTok, I appreciate y'all. And so basically, I'm a carnivore. That was one of the things that I feel like I was really, really successful at is eating the right food, and eating the proper human diet, avoiding the seed oils as much as possible. I'm going to talk a little bit about seed oils later because seed oils are hugely problematic. So want to talk about a little bit about that. I did great with my eating. Like eating was excellent. Also another thing that I incorporated in, I think late in 2024 was walking, 14,400 steps a day. I can say that I wasn't as successful with that. I was off and on with it. I kind of reduced it down after about 3 months. I reduced it down to 10,000 steps and still struggled a little bit to get all those steps in, you guys. It takes me an hour and a half of walking a day to get those 14,400 steps a day. And y'all, I'm so far behind today. I'm like really, really far behind and it's almost 5 o'clock. So that means I'm going to be walking for like an hour after we get done here, but that's okay. So for 2026, I've increased it back up to 14,400. I can tell you that there have been 3 things that have been game changers for me since I started my way of eating. So a primarily animal-based way of eating, carnivore, if that's what we call it, carnivore. So one of them has been carnivore itself. And basically I had so many health benefits from carnivore that it's absolutely incredible. And if you guys watch my channel, then you know that there have been a number of people that I have interviewed who've talked a lot about how they have improved their health through a primarily meat-based way of eating. So it's pretty awesome. That was number one. Game changer number one was going carnivore in and of itself. It is a healing protocol. I promise you, like, so many things are being healed and cured and set into remission with going with a primarily meat-based way of eating, even though we kind of have been taught that the opposite is the best. So, I'm just asking y'all to think about that, because I can say this. Um, I was eating like everybody else, the standard American diet, low fat, high vegetables. So if I was to look at my plate before I started carnivore, which I've been carnivore for 1,046 days today, before I started carnivore, my plate would look like mostly vegetables, and a very small amount of meat, very low fat, right? And I had super extreme anxiety. I had like eczema all over my face. I had 2 black eyes and this dark circle around my mouth. And so, yeah, I was pretty sick. And I had IBS. I had a whole litany of issues that I was dealing with, not the least of which was also hypertension, which I reversed my hypertension with a ketogenic diet. So that's even before I found carnivore. So if you have hypertension and you're thinking about trying keto to try to alleviate that, I would highly recommend it, because I was able to reverse mine. And I know for a fact that I was probably destined to have hypertension for my life, because my dad has it. And he has had it for as long as I can remember and has always been on blood pressure medications. And so I reversed mine. They put me on medicine, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to stay on medicine. I'm going to figure out a way to reverse this. And I did. So that was with a keto diet. And so basically, carnivore has really changed my life over the course of this 1,046 days. And I know people like to ask the question, you don't eat any vegetables? No, I don't eat any vegetables at all. And in fact, I found out over the course of time that vegetables actually cause a problem for me. They literally cause my hand eczema to blister up. And also, they cause me some gastric distress. Like I don't have any issues with, using the bathroom, or any issues with, that IBS problem that I had before. So I will say that I was constipated. So, there's IBS with constipation. There's IBS with diarrhea. Mine was constipation. So I was in the bathroom crying for an hour, sitting in there trying to go to the bathroom. And basically that went away on a carnivore way of eating. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here tonight. We are just chopping it up because it's 2026. And we want to really think about how we're going to do, what changes we're going to do, and how we're going to be better for 2026. So carnivore really changed my life in regards to anxiety. I had really, really chronic anxiety. In fact, went to the doctor and told her, like, you're going to have to put me on something. I'm going to need some medication because I'm not going to be able to function in regular life. And so she put me on Zoloft, which Zoloft is a, anti-anxiety medicine, and it doled me out, and I did not want to stay on it. So about 6 months after I was on carnivore, I was able to wean myself off of that medication. And I cannot say that my anxiety is perfect. I still incorporate some things that, that may contribute. So things like spices and stuff like that may contribute to anxiety, because I know for a fact that like mint does, and any kind of leafy type of green type of things cause that anxiety to flare up. So yeah, so I got to stay away from that stuff, but I still do use my Redmond's Real. If you guys watch, you see, I use my Redmond's Real seasoned salt. It's absolutely delicious. Tastes like gold to me. I still do have coffee in my diet. And I've tried a couple of times eliminating it, and then I brought it back. So I took a year off actually of having coffee for, yeah, one whole full year. No coffee, no sweeteners. And I really didn't feel like I felt some amazing, incredible benefit from being off of it. So I ended up having it again. So I do have coffee in my way of eating, which is a plant. So I cannot say that I don't have any plants because I definitely do have coffee. I have some sweeteners, which are probably not the best, but I do enjoy my Coco Loco by Salty. I enjoy those chocolate salts in the coffee. So yeah, so I do use some of those salty electrolytes and stuff like that. So those are things that I do incorporate into my way of eating. That I think probably, if I eliminate them, I probably would see like amazing benefits, but I have not done that yet. Hey, Simpson. Hey, Rosalind. Hey, Ashley. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And then over here, we've got Walter, and I thought I saw Juju come in, Guillermo, Rebel Dragon, Lele? I don't know how to say that one. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. We are chopping it up because it's 2026, and I want to talk to you guys about what my plans are as I'm going into 2026. What am I going to be doing? What am I thinking about? So, number one, World Carnivore Month. Is anybody thinking about trying carnivore for World Carnivore Month, which is now, right now? January is World Carnivore Month, and there's millions of people that are trying it with you. So it's a great time to give it a shot. And then, see how it works for you. All right. So, and I do recommend, if you're going to try carnivore, I really do recommend 90 days. Because literally, if I had not set my face to doing 90 days when I started, I probably would not be a carnivore. Because the first 30 days were challenging. You have the cravings, because especially if you're coming off of a standard American diet, you're going to deal with cravings. That's a possibility. You may have some gastric distress as your stomach microbiome is trying to transition over. You might not get into ketosis within 30 days. And ketosis is our goal. So we want to be in ketosis as often as possible, which is fat burning. So the idea is to be in fat burning mode as much as possible. And so I recommend 90 days. A lot of people have tried 7 days and they say, I'm just going to try this for 7 days. And then they go by 7-day increments. And I have some people in my family that have done that, and it has worked well for them. So if you want to just say, you know what, I'm going to try it for 7 days, I'm going to try it for a week, or I'm going to try it for 2 weeks or a month, that's something that you can do as well. So you guys, I'm getting ready to hit my 3-year mark in February. 3 years on a primarily animal-based way of eating. And I never, ever would have thought that I would still be doing this after 3 years. I thought when I started that I was going to do 90 days. And I knew that I was going to do 90 days. So I had already made up my mind that 90 days was going to be the way. And then I would start incorporating things back in. Well, when I tried to start incorporating things back in, I realized that really it was the plant-based foods that were causing my problem. The plant-based foods, as well as the seed oils, that were causing me a lot of problems. So the eczema that I had, I kind of knew that sugar was a problem. And I kind of knew that dairy might be a problem, but literally the doctors were telling me, no, it's not food related. It's not food related. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. Take these creams and ointments and get these shots. I literally had to have shots into my hands because they would blister up, and they really, really were very blistered. You can see that. Okay. They don't have that problem anymore. And so, so I started to try to incorporate a little of this and a little of that. And I realized it's the plants. it really is the plants. And then further along down the line, about 2 years in, I realized it's the dairy, it's the cheese. Now, you guys, I love cheese. How many people in here love cheese like me? I am a cheese lover. I mean, I would say a cheeseless life is not worth living. That was kind of one of the things that I used to say. I loved cheese. Come to find out, cheese was a huge problem for eczema. And so was heavy cream. I was able to give up the heavy cream first. And then eventually I had to give up the cheese. Now, you guys, I would go to the restaurant and I would order the pizza with light sauce and I would eat all the toppings off the pizza. And that was my jam. I loved that. But come to find out that it was really, really causing me a huge problem. If you have eczema, I would recommend that you try cutting out all dairy, at least for a time. I'm sorry if you guys can hear the dog barking. Somebody's here. And so cutting out dairy, at least for a time, to see if that is really causing you a problem. You guys, my eczema was so bad that I lost my fingerprints. I went to be fingerprinted to go out of the country, and they could not lift a fingerprint off of me. It was so, my skin was so damaged. And even now, like with my computer, you have the biometrics on your computer where you can put your fingerprint on there. Half the time the thing doesn't work because my fingerprints are muted. So, but my whole insides of my hands peeled off, all my fingers, everything in between, all of that peeled off. And so it was really, really bad. My eczema was terrible, terrible. So if you have eczema or literally kind of almost any autoimmune condition, you might have to eliminate the dairy. So even I found out recently as about within the last 6 months, that sour cream also causes the same problem. So I think basically what happens is that within our bodies, a lot of things are going on, but there's so much noise in the system that you cannot figure out what is the real problem, right? What is the real problem? And so when you do this elimination way of eating, where you're completely eliminating everything except for meat, then you start to figure out what the real issue is. What is the problem with the foods that I am eating? Same thing with seed oils. Like, seed oils are incredibly toxic. So when I say seed oils, I'm talking about canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, vegetable oil, all of those things that we use every day to cook in are toxic. I mean, they're really, really toxic. And now if I get a hold of them, I will know it. My eczema will flare up. So I recently went out for chicken wings, which, I love me a good chicken wing. And I usually fry them in beef tallow at my house. But I went out, and when I did that, I ended up with these 2 burns. Like, it looks like burns. It's eczema, but it flared up, and then also very, very dry in between my fingers. And it took about 2 weeks for that, what looked like a burn mark, to clear up. So, and that came from seed oils. And possibly the other things that were on the chicken wings. So, when you're eating out, it's a little bit challenging because you don't know necessarily what they're cooking your food in, and it can be a little bit problematic to eat out. And I eat out fairly often, as you guys know, if you look at my TikTok or at my YouTube channel, I eat out kind of often. But I have kind of come to the conclusion that, I'm spending a lot of money to eat out. You guys can make the food the way I need it. So today I went to Texas Roadhouse. I broke my fast that I started at the beginning of the month. And I had a ribeye, but I also had a bowl of egg yolks with bacon. And so I'm not egg yolks. I'm sorry, boiled eggs with bacon. So I got this from Emma Mann, from Homestead How, his daughter, Carrie Mann's daughter. And she went to the Texas Roadhouse and ordered salad, no salad. And so the lady was like, "You mean like you don't want any lettuce? No lettuce, no whatever else comes on there. All I want is the eggs and then add a side of bacon to it." And that was perfect. So eggs and boiled eggs with bacon and then a steak for my dinner. So yeah, so 2025, it went well. Could have done better with my walking. And also the third so the second game changer was walking, right? 14,400 steps a day. When I started doing that, I started to see some really significant changes in the shape of my body. Like, okay, I didn't even know I was shaped like that. It was so crazy. I did not know that I was shaped like that. So, but when I started walking that many steps a day and not even really doing much else, I was doing some stretching here and there. I was doing a little bit of weightlifting here and there. But the main thing I was doing was those 14,400 steps a day. And it was a game changer. And so if you're able to increase your step count by, however much is comfortable for you, get more movement in, it really can be a game changer. So that was the second one. And then the third one I found was adding fat. Now, I know there's a lot of people out here talking about how much fat should we have. For every way that you could talk about eating, there's somebody that's like with it and somebody that's against it, right? So everybody has to do their own personal experiment and find out for yourself what works. But for me, increasing fat does not increase weight necessarily. Now, I did try the stick of butter a day. Y'all know Steak and Butter Gal. She's amazing. And she can eat a whole stick of butter in a day and not gain weight. Well, I cannot do that. I cannot incorporate a stick of butter a day. And in fact, when I incorporate a high amount of butter, it causes my eczema to flare up because of the milk solids, I do believe. So I can't eat a stick of butter a day. When I ate the stick of butter a day, I did it for 2 months. In the first month, I gained 10 pounds. In the second month, I maintained those 10 pounds. And then it took me months to get that off. And so a stick of butter a day does not work for me. However, beef fat trimmings does work. And so I just came back from a cruise at the beginning of the month. Oh my gosh, it was so amazing. We were hanging out there with G and Frederick Brown from Hanging with the Browns, and then also the Browns from my family. So I was very excited to have them with us. But at those meals, every single day at dinner, they gave us a bowl of beef fat trimmings with the liquid gold that comes with it. And so you're basically having a steak with a pile of beef fat on top of it. And it was so good. And I can tell you that didn't do anything to my weight. And so as far as gaining weight. So I feel like adding fat, especially at the beginning, can be a game changer for, first of all, getting into ketosis, which again is our goal, to be in ketosis as often as possible. And then also to help with weight loss, to help your body learn how to burn fat. So Julia's here. She says that butter for her still works. She has to cut it up and make snack-sized portions, but it did. You have to experiment to see what works. And that's exactly what I'm saying is, every single person has to do their own experiment to determine. So you'll hear some people talking about a low-fat or a lean carnivore. I don't necessarily adhere to that because carnivore in my mind, and as I have heard tell, is a high fat, moderate protein way of eating, primarily fat. So like a 70-30 ratio, or at least a 50-50 ratio of fat to protein. And so, so we got to get away from our fear of fat, from what we have been taught and what we have been told about fat clogging the arteries. Is just not the truth. If you guys want to go take a look at the video that's on my channel with, I have 2 videos with Dr. Ovadia, who's a heart surgeon. And yeah, fat does not cause heart disease. And so that's something, okay, I'm not a doctor, y'all. I'm not a doctor or any kind of a medical practitioner. I'm a carnivorous grandma, but I'm telling you, based on what I have been talking to these doctors and having these conversations, it's not the fat that's causing the problem. What is causing our problem? Anybody have the answer for me? Drop it in the chat. I'll give you a second to drop that in the chat. All right. So again, I've been doing this for almost 3 years. February 22nd, 2026 will be my 3-year carniversary, and I'm super excited. And I just cannot, I cannot even imagine going back to the way I was before. Where, first of all, I was walking around with 2 black eyes, and I love concealer because of that. I was so happy to find this product called concealer because it would cover up all these dark spots, all my black eye, all the thing around the mouth. I mean, I was just caking on the makeup to try to, hey, Glucose Wisdom says it that you got it. Sugar, that is the problem. Insulin resistance, absolutely 100%. The sugar, salt and fat are being blamed for what sugar has done. And that is what we really, really need to oil. I mean, we really, really need to understand. Somebody said processed foods, Parvolox 5532, exactly. And then Calpurnia, hey, Calpurnia is here, and she says sugar and seed oils. Exactly. Think about that. I want you to think about this. If you were to go to the hospital today with any condition at all, doesn't matter what it is, what is the first thing they're going to do, right? What is the first thing they're going to do? They're going to put you on an IV drip. What's in the IV drip? Saline sodium. They're going to put you on a salt drip. Why? Because most of us are dehydrated. We do not have enough sodium. We do not get enough sodium because we have been taught that salt is a problem. All right. So let's see here. I have a question in the chat. Let me just bring that question up. Simpson wants to know, do I feel I'm at my optimum weight? No, I do not feel I'm at my optimum weight. I can tell you that my body, the size I am, I feel really good at. But I still have fat on my body. So there are some things that I need to incorporate in order to burn that fat off. And Simpson is here. That's Simpson asking, and she's probably thinking about Red right now, which is my Peloton that I need to get on in order to burn this fat off. And so the walking 14,400 steps, I mean, walking an hour and a half a day really does help with fat burning, right? And then also, doing a little bit weightlifting. Glucose Wisdom says more muscle. Absolutely. Needing to actually find the muscles that are underneath, right? So I don't know if you guys know of, oh my gosh, why can't I think of her? Celeste from the Mumford method. Have you guys seen her? Celeste looks amazing. Oh my gosh, she has figured out how to make those muscles pop out, right? And so that is one of the things that I would love to see, is to see, see my muscles and see my bones pop out. Because I really don't need this extra fat that's particularly on the belly. And so I don't think so. That I am at my optimal weight. But what I'm saying to myself and what I'm saying in general is that my body is going to find the weight that it should be. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've done a lot of diets. I've been heavier than I am now, way heavier than I am now. And I've been a lot skinnier than I am now, but I never looked as healthy as I do today. And so that healthy look, people are like, oh, you're glowing. Yeah, that's that healthy look that came from being on a primarily meat-based way of eating. I've never felt as good as I do. And I want to talk about feeling good versus feeling happy today. So this is something that I've been thinking a lot about. I have actually never been as healthy as I am right now. The body's going to find its optimal weight. I do need to do some more weightlifting. I need to do some more fat burning and burn that fat off the middle. Glucose Wisdom saying, I love my steaks. I love my steaks too. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So good. Simpson, thank you so much. So Darlene says that sugar and not enough fat for me. I have an issue consistently getting enough fat. It is challenging if you think about how difficult it is to get even a 50-50. If you guys ever use your Chronometer or your MyFitnessPal or whatever it is to calculate your macros, you will see how literally intentional you have to be able to get that fat macro up there, and keep those in the ratio of a 50-50, a 70-30, an 80-20. People who are getting 80-20 on carnivore it's so difficult. And so I feel like what I realized with G and Frederick on the cruise, thank you, Glucose Wisdom, thank you for stopping by, I appreciate you, is that they're eating an extra serving of beef fat trimmings every day, in addition to the bacon and the steak, the fatty steak and the fatty salmon with the skin, all those kinds of things. They're also adding a little bowl like this of fat to their meal every day. And if you guys have seen G, that girl looks good. She looks good. She's at her ideal weight, I would say. Or if she's not, she's close to it because she really, really looks good. And so, basically that game changer is fat. That is the third one. Adding the fat, getting that fat macro up there. And so that's something that I really want to be intentional about in 2026. So, I do want to talk about things that I wish I had known or wish I had understood before I started carnivore, wish I had done before I started carnivore. First of all, when I started carnivore 1,046 days ago, I thought that carnivore was going to be a weight loss protocol. I thought that I would, it was going to be another diet like all the diets that I had done before, where I would lose a lot of weight. And I come to find out that carnivore, for me, and for probably most people, is not primarily a weight loss protocol, although a lot of people lose a lot of weight on carnivore. People have lost hundreds of pounds. I mean, you think about Bill Knott, right, who lost half of himself in like a year or 2 years on carnivore. Amazing. For me, I lost 20 pounds in the first 3 months, and then I stayed around 20 pounds weight loss. I'm not going to be inviting anybody to co-host. Sorry, you guys. Maybe we'll do that some other time. I lost that 20 pounds, and then I stayed at about 20 pounds for about 2 years until I incorporated that walking in. So the walking really, really did help a lot with reshaping and kind of getting the body weight moving again. But at 20 pounds weight lost, my body has come down to a size that I feel like is pretty incredible. I think I'm probably getting close to around 30 pounds weight lost at this point. And then I've kind of gone up and down. Like I tried that butter thing and it was 10 pounds up. And that was bad. So that weight fluctuations happen all the time. The key thing, though, is that we want to be in ketosis. So what did I wish that I had known? I wish I had known how much healing would have come into play with this, because that should be the primary reason that you're starting it. If you have some kind of health issue, right? Even if you are underweight, carnivore will help you to get your weight leveled out. And then, things like type 2 diabetes are being 100% reversed in such a short amount of time. Such a short amount of time. It's absolutely incredible how fast you can reverse type 2 diabetes, things like MS, bipolar. If you guys, I've been putting up some video about Emily Penton. She cured, or well, I'll call it put into remission. I'm not going to say cured, but she reversed her bipolar disorder and MS. Both of those things in one person have been reversed. And so if you have an issue, even I had this anemia, where I was always cold, and they wanted me to take iron pills for it. And come to find out, if you eat meat, especially beef, that you can cure or reverse your own anemia. What? Who thought? That's kind of crazy, but it happened to me. I had this Raynaud's. I don't know if you guys know about Raynaud's, where your fingers turn white when you touch something cold, or if it gets cold outside, the fingers just turn white. It can happen fingers and toes, your extremities. It's called Raynaud's. I had that. And I've been touching the cold steering wheel all winter long and no problem, no issue. And so, the healing is the most important thing. And so, even I've talked to folks, physicians, and they have told me, like, if you have recently had, or if you have kidney disease, what's protective of the kidneys is a primarily meat-based way of eating. So, that's just what I have been told. Each person would have to try it for themselves. So, and the other thing I wish I would have known is, or I have had thought about, was go ahead and measure yourself and take the picture. If you're just getting started, have you taken a picture of yourself? So that you can remember what you looked like? I'm so thankful, because I knew when I started that I was going to do a YouTube channel. So I recorded a video. I never posted the video, but I was cooking, and I have a video there. So that video shows me how I looked when I got started. And I even just posted up on my TikTok a video from 2023, and I'm looking at the chubbiness, the roundness of my face in that video. And I'm saying, yes, carnivore really changed the way my body shape is. Whether or not I lost a whole lot of weight or not. And that was like almost a year into carnivore. My face was still round. And so that has really, really changed. And Julia's saying that the most famous quote from Rich, her husband, was, she said to Rich, "I will feel better." And he said, "Can you feel worse?" Right. So how are you feeling? Are you ready to give this a try? Hey, D Orange, thank you so much. So glad that you are here. I'm glad to see you as well. All right. Fat is not optional, in my opinion. And like I said, for every one opinion, there's somebody out there that's going to have an opposite opinion and say, you need to be lean. You need a lean carnivore. I do not agree with that. I do not agree with that. I feel like if you go lean carnivore, you are going to be hungrier, right? Fat is very satiating, so you don't need to need to eat as often. You can be very full and satisfied with 1 or 2 meals a day. And our idea is that we want to keep our insulin from spiking, right? So we eliminate the sugar and the processed foods. And then we eliminate the fruits and vegetables, which are also sugar, right? And go primarily meat-based and eat the fat. So you might want to start out getting your fatty ribeye, eating the fat off the ribeye. You might want to start out adding a little bit of butter to if you're having chicken or whatever it is, right? And so those things you can do, but fat is not optional. Carnivore is a high fat, moderate protein protocol, right? That's what it is. And so if you're doing something else then you're not doing carnivore as it's defined. I will say it that way, right? And so you need to be eating fat, and you're going to feel satiated and full. I wish I had known that everybody has an opinion. So many voices out here. So many voices out here. Like in these carnivore streets, there are so many voices that are talking. I have a question about hypertension. I'm going to respond to that question. I will say to John, I had hypertension. I was on medication for it. And I went on keto and I reversed my hypertension on keto. Yes, I'm not a doctor, so don't take this as the word of a physician or any kind of medical practitioner. I am a carnivore coach, and I would say yes, monitor your blood pressure, because when you go on a primarily meat-based way of eating, your blood pressure is going to reduce. And so you would need to work with your doctor to reduce those medications. And so, yes, I say yes, you should. Absolutely, 100%. And yeah, so too many people with too many voices saying too many things. Although you need to do research, you need to do your own research. And then, isn't red meat high in sodium? I don't know the answer to that question, whether red meat is high in sodium. I add salt to my food. I take salty electrolytes, and I'm not concerned about having too much sodium. So, John, sodium is not the problem. If you are on a standard American diet, it's not the sodium that's causing the problem, it's the sugar. Okay. So, I would say read a book called The Salt Fix, and see what you think about that. And I would not worry about having too much sodium from eating red meat. And so Julia's saying, yes, eat sodium, look it up. Yes, do your research. That is the thing, that you need to do your research yourself, right? So that is the thing. You have to go and do your own research. And look back at some of the old like books on ways of eating, because basically we knew this 100 years ago, that we should be eating meat, and particularly for those who have like, let's see, epilepsy, those who have type 2 diabetes. The recommendation from way back when in the 1800s was to eliminate sugar. Do not eat carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are super dangerous. And I know that they're telling you that you need a certain amount of carbohydrates a day, but there are two mandatory macronutrients that you need in your diet. One is fat and the other is protein. The third is carbohydrates, and you do not need it. So I do not agree with that, John. I do not think, I'm telling you that I reversed my hypertension with a ketogenic way of eating. Sodium does not retain water in the body. When you eliminate sugar, you're going to find out that you need that sodium. You need it in order to be hydrated. And so that's something that you need to really take a look into, John. And it's not going to make you retain water. No, it will not. So Petra Nuffle is saying, I started on Monday. I know it's not the best thing, but it's not the first time for me. I go to the only eggs and beef. I can't eat pork. I have to find out to do it, how to do it in the fat. So how do you get added fat? How do you get added fat? That's a great question. Go to your local grocery store or your local butcher shop and tell them that you would like some beef fat trimmings, particularly from ribeye. If they're able to give you the ribeye fat trimmings, those are absolutely delicious and the best, right? They're the best. But you can get any kind of beef fat trimmings. I use brisket fat a lot because my stepdad is he does a lot of smoking. So we get some brisket fat. I get some suet from when I order the cow. I got I gotta, the suet off of that. I go to the grocery store and I pick up the beef suet, and I do eat that. So increasing the fat is, it can be a little bit challenging. I know that in my area, they're getting away from like selling it to you from the butcher shop. So I'm trying to find ways to actually do that. But yeah, go to your butcher shop and get it. Get the fat Petra Nuffle. So hopefully that helps you. And so for now, you say you're only eating eggs and beef. You need to probably tell me, what kind of beef are you eating? Are you eating ribeyes? Are you eating ground beef? Are you getting the 70-30 ground beef? John, I have studied this, and basically I know that the sugar, that salt is being blamed for what sugar did. I would like it if you would go and take a look at that and see if that can help you. And also read the book called The Salt Fix. And so most of us are undersalted, not oversalted. Realizing that carnivore is a super simple protocol. So a lot of us try to overcomplicate this. Actually, Petra Nuffle is doing probably the best thing with the eggs and ground beef, or eggs and beef, because carnivore is simple. It is not complicated. Now, is it easy? No, it is not easy, especially when you're first getting started. But it is very, very simple. You should be able to be eating within like 15 minutes. Remember 30-minute meals? I just saw Rachel, where is she, starting a new show. Did you guys see that? I was thinking Rachel needs to go on carnivore. She needs to do a carnivore show. And she did the 30-minute meals though. And, I was really big into the 30-minute meals, and so nice, but literally you can be eating a steak from frozen to medium rare in 15 minutes, and it's absolutely delicious in the air fryer. Carnivore is simple. Your air fryer is your friend. My pressure cooker, I just did a chuck roast in the pressure cooker. I cut it up into bites and fried them. This is probably the most labor intensive thing. Frying them up and getting that crisp on them, and then put it in the pressure cooker for an hour. Absolutely delicious. And just put a stick of butter on top. No water. Absolutely delicious, and makes the most unctuous, beef broth that you can imagine. So delicious. All right. So let's see. Ground beef and meat from the crock pot. Not so much other meat. Just make sure you're getting enough fat, Petra Nuffle. And I know that you just said that you started on Monday. Let me know how many meals a day you're eating. And also, are you adding any fat? Are you adding butter? Are you adding beef fat? What kind of fat are you adding to your way of eating? So one of the things too that I want to talk about is that we so often use food as for pleasure, right? We use food instead of for energy. We use it to soothe our feelings. We use it to, feel better about things. We have grown up like, what do you do when you're happy? You eat. When you're sad, you eat. When you're mad, you eat. Everything triggers us to eat. And getting away from that, soothing ourselves with food. Now what? Now what are you going to do with your emotions? That's one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today is, and I have this question for you. If you are carnivore, does carnivore make you happy? Does it make you feel happy? I was talking to my husband about this today. And I thought, carnivore makes me feel healthy. It makes me feel mentally healthy. It makes me feel good. But what is it that brings me joy? And so this is something that I'm focusing on for 2026 is like having more actual joy. That is a thing that we need. And so what I did for the very start of 2026, because I want to start 2026 like I want to finish, right? I want to finish it without being burdened down by my social media. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes my social media feed makes me feel a little bit overwhelmed. And I'm actually going to do a Carnivorous Grandma Speaks about the impact of scrolling. John, our discussion over. I think that John, you need to just take a look at some other things about. Think about it. If you go to the hospital today, they're going to give you a sodium drip, right? They're going to give you a sodium drip, no matter what your problem is. So sorry, John. Yeah, I got to move on. We can't keep talking about that. So everybody needs sodium, and we're probably undersalted. But if you're concerned about going on carnivore with your high blood pressure, then you can go ahead and try not to add a whole lot of salt. But I think you're going to find out that you need it because your electrolytes are going to get imbalanced, and you're going to need those electrolytes. So that's another thing that everybody should do if you are starting carnivore. Make sure that you have electrolytes at the ready. If you start feeling sick, you start feeling foolish, you need to get those electrolytes on board. Okay. So that is something that you need to make sure that you have ready. Okay. So having more joy is a thing that I want to do. And in order to do that, I eliminated my social media scrolling. I did a 3-day, I'm still within my 3-day fast. So I have not been able to watch anything on social media for the last couple of days. I will tell you, it is so hard to give up social media. It is so hard to give up scrolling. There is a thing about this, right? So just like the sugar causes a dopamine hit, and we talk about this all the time, sugar, it is a feel-good drug. And so basically, so is scrolling. It hits your dopamine center and it makes you feel good. And, we're getting used to these rapid cycles of getting another hit, another hit, another hit, and basically addicted to it. So as I am trying to take these few days off, I see something coming from Messy11 asking a question. Are you the one in my mom's work? She said you want. No, I don't know what that is. So if you want to come back with something that's spelled correctly so I can understand what you're saying, Messy11. Okay, thank you. Basically that dopamine hit, it keeps hitting and hitting and hitting. When you try to put that down, ooh-wee, it is hard. Has anybody tried this? Has anybody tried to give up your social media scrolling? And I'm talking about doom scrolling. I'm talking about I was on my phone listening to things, looking at YouTube, watching my TikToks for many, 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 many hours a day. Like every free moment, I was getting that dopamine hit from scrolling. And so now that I'm trying not to have it, it is very hard. It is very, very hard. I find myself with my phone in my hand, like, what am I doing? What am I doing if I'm not able to look at anything? Like, what am I doing? So I decided to incorporate more scripture, more books. So I used to read books a lot. I used to read fiction a lot. Like that was my jam. I love to read books. And I found myself like not reading books at all, but just spending all my time scrolling, watching things that entertain me. So like there's a lady, she has these raccoons come in her yard. It's called Dance Fans Only. And the 3-legged raccoon, I'm watching that because it's so entertaining. And I said to myself, okay, so you can scroll only until Dance Fans comes on. And then you have to turn it off. And then I find myself just keep going and going and going until the lady, what is that lady's name that keeps coming up on the TikTok talking about, are you scrolling instead of sleeping again? Get out of here. Get out of here, lady. So anyway, I had to cut it out. I really, really had to cut it out because I was spending way too much of my time doing that. And so not enough time like enhancing my life, not enough time, finding the real joy in life. So I went and bought a book and I'm reading it. It's a fiction book. And so we'll see if I like that book. I'm also, spending more time in my scriptures because that's something that brings me joy. And so, carnivore, while it does bring health, it doesn't necessarily bring joy. While it does eliminate anxiety, depression, it doesn't necessarily bring joy. So, as you are considering doing a carnivore way of eating, what I want you to know is you have to find ways to protect your joy. Even the fact that there are so many different, influencers out here talking about so many different things and saying yes to this, no to that, no, depending on who you talk to, this is good, that's not good. Some people eat salt, some people don't eat salt, John. But it's confusing. And so do your own experiment. Do your own experiments. Simpson says, yes, I scroll. I've been trying to stop it. Yes, I'm trying to stop scrolling. So the only way that I could do it, and I tried a lot of different things. I tried put my phone in another area, put it in over there, plug it in at night. At night, I go over there and get it and turn it on and start scrolling. I tried to limit myself. I tried to put a timer on the thing. I even put an app on my phone that would tell me when to stop scrolling. And I had to take that app off because it was really cutting off my scrolling time. So I'm like, it would block the apps. And I'm like, this is frustrating. So I took the app off. But what was able to work for me was to try to fast. And as we are going, my church is going into a 21-day fast. I was able to just fast. All right, so TikTok is ending soon. Let me see if I can figure out how to make it keep going. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this will last just a few more minutes. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's get to the point here. 2026. What is your intention? What are you guys doing? Are you trying this out? Are you trying out this meat-based way of eating? I recommend every single person try it and see what it does because it's pretty powerful. All right, so here's my intentions. Have you guys heard of Impact? Impact is my meetup that I'm hosting here in Kalamazoo. I hosted it last year. 2025 was year one for Impact, and we will be doing it again in 2026. It is Labor Day weekend. And if you want to get some more information, it is coming up on my website, CarnivorousGrama.com. And you guys can see more information forthcoming about Impact. The ticket sales are going to start in February, and the event is held September 5th. The tickets are limited though, so I mean I can't have like 500 people necessarily, but I do want to see you there. So hopefully you'll be able to come. Watch my website for information about Impact coming up. My 21-day fast started on January 1st, January 2nd, and will go until January 30. How many days is 21? January 22nd with the church. I'll probably continue on through the rest of the month, but it is an intermittent fast. I just did my full fast. I'm done with that. And I'm continuing. Oh my gosh, George and Lenny. Yes, I heard that they are planning on coming. I'm so excited. There are going to be some really interesting people at this meetup, you guys. You do not want to miss it. So one of my big focuses for 2026 is Impact. How to make Impact the best it can be. 2025 was amazing. Like it was, I have to say, It was one of the best meetups that I've ever been to. But I want to make it just as good or better for you guys this year. So, of course, continue to watch my page. So, a big focus is on impact and how to make that the best that it can be. And then I'm also a carnivore coach, as you may or may not be aware. So I am doing a 90-day on ramp for somebody who needs help. Like, you don't know how to do this, and you need a coach to walk with you on the journey. That is what my coaching is all about. It's a 90-day on ramp. I call it a high touch coaching program. Okay. And so what does it include? It includes an initial discovery session, which is 1 hour where we learn all about you, what your goals are, and make sure that we have a good plan for you. What is our strategy going to be for you individually for that 90 days, right? And then with that, we also have community, which is a huge factor. I don't know if you guys started out your carnivore journey by yourself like I did. I was on my own. I was watching all the YouTube influencers, and there weren't that many at that time. But today there's like a plethora. There's so many, somebody that's going to resonate with you. But community is a huge piece of it. So we do have community there, a couple different ways to do that. And then also we have a weekly coaching call that is, specific to the work that we're doing within the 90-day on-ramp. And also I have a furthering program called Maintenance and Mastery. So, if you're interested in that, you can check out my website, CarnivorousGrama.com. Send me a message, let me know. Just let me know if you're interested in that type of support going forward. So that's another thing. So I want to support a number of people who want to do this, but are just, you need somebody to hold your hand and walk you through it. And so that's one thing that I'm doing. One thing that happened to me this year was that I kissed my goal weight. My goal weight is 135 pounds. I probably weigh about when I weighed myself this morning, I was 138.8. And so I'm close, so close. I touched it after a 5-day water fast. And then I kind of came back up off of it up to around 140, between 140, 142. Now I'm at 138. So I would like to actually reach and achieve my goal weight. And then, I want to reset my weight loss goal down a little bit, but I don't really want to do that until I actually achieve the goal weight that I'm looking for. And so that's one thing that I'm looking for. 14,400 steps a day, every day for 2026. Y'all gonna hold me accountable for that? Woo! Petra Nuffle, oh, thank you so much for being here after midnight. And thank you for stopping by. Wishing you the best on your carnivore journey. So getting those 14,400 steps, which means after I get off of here, y'all know what I'm going to be doing. Also, being a little strategic with the things that I'm posting. So let me know, send me a message, IM me, and put something in my inbox and tell me what it is that you would like to see. I thought about doing some more cooking, like cooking shows, because I do cook a lot. And I do keto and I do carnivore cooking because somebody asked, is my husband a carnivore? No, he's not. He is keto. And so, so I do some keto cooking as well. So that's something that I probably will try to do and put it within my intentions for 2026. So I hope you guys have gone into your 2026 year with intentionality, not just letting things creep up on you. Right? What is it that you want to get out of this year? What are your goals? So I do not set New Year's resolutions. And in fact, Carrie Mann just put out such a great video that talked about, not setting New Year's resolution, but setting some non-negotiables, like walking into the grocery store from the furthest parking spot away. That's such a great idea. What a fantastic way to get 1,000 steps in real easy. You know, you got to get 1,000 steps to the door and then 1,000 steps back. That's really good. Taz says, I love your cooking videos. Awesome. So I'm going to try to do some more of that and maybe do some actually, going live and doing some cooking during the live. So that's something that I have intention and within my intentions as well. Yeah. So you guys, have you heard of Hey Sister Girl, the Hey Sister Girl Ladies Talk Show on Monday nights at 7 o'clock p.m. on YouTube? I have a show with G Brown and it's called Hey Sister Girl. And we talk about a lot of things. This coming Monday, we have a guest, Charles Maddox from Revoke. And he just did a show, a 4-part series, I believe it is, on menopause. And so I'm thinking, wow, that's something that really we need to talk about as ladies, especially as we're getting older. As the gentlemen, they need to know like how to help your woman. She's going through menopause. What do you do? How is this? And so Charles Maddox is coming on this coming Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. on YouTube. And so we'll be there for Hey Sister Girl. That is a show that is every Monday night at 7 o'clock on YouTube. So hope to see you guys there. And what about spending more effectively? How's your spending? Like, are you spending willy-nilly? Or are you being effective? We're really, my husband and I, trying to think and strategize for 2026, what it is that we're going to do and what are we planning for. But I do want to mention this before I go, and that is in 2027, we are planning a carnivore cruise, just to put that in your radar. So if you want to be part of a carnivore cruise with CarnivorousGrama and with Hanging with the Browns, definitely, be on the lookout for that 2027 carnivore cruise, because that's going to be so much fun. But yeah, spend your money wisely. Like, be intentional. That's all I have to say, is be intentional about everything that you are doing. What are your non-negotiables for the year? What are your goals? Like, did you sit down and write down your goals? I wrote down my goals. And I have expressed my goals to my community. And so, be intentional. Be intentional about the things that you want and the things that you are going to do. All right, you guys, I am over an hour. So thank you so much for being here with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. I know that you could spend your time doing a lot of other things. So every minute that you spend with me, I definitely appreciate you. I hope everybody is having a good New Year so far. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.